Hello and welcome to the Idle Hands Workshop. I'm Steven here with Boomer, and today we're going to work on making a stitching pony for working with leather. Basically all it is an extra set of hands that'll hold your leather while you stitch it together. Ours is going to be made out of oak, 3/4 inch, 2.5 inch wide. You can get it at your local box shop if you have one. You can use oak, pine, cedar, just about any wood will do. I chose oak. I like the grain, I like the look when it's finished, and it should last a long time. So, what I've already gone and done is got my pieces cut. There'll be a tip sheet I'll post a link to. Pretty simple. We've got some 4-inch blocks that'll make up our center point. Another set of 4-inch blocks that'll make up the jaws for each of the arms. I got a knob. Not going to make a video on making knobs. There's a million of them. We've got 2 pieces that we're going to glue together that are going to make the base that it sits on. Now these can be 15 to 18 inches or whatever length you want. I made these a little shorter because they got to fit in the chair that I work in. And then we've got our 2 uprights. And basically, when we get it all together, there'll be a bolt that goes through here that you can tighten up, just like on this one. You can open and close the jaws, put your workpiece in there, close it back up, and it will hold it nice and tight. You don't have to have leather inside the jaws. A lot of people seem to prefer it because it won't mar up the workpiece like some wood does. And without further ado, we're going to get to gluing things up. So here we go, Boomer. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the 2 pieces that make up our base, and we're going to glue those together side by side. Use our built-in glue spreaders. Make sure that you get your wiener out of the way because nobody likes a sticky wiener. Clamp them up together tight and then get that set aside. Wipe off any squeeze out. Then you can take the 2 blocks that form up the center and glue those together as well. Clamp them together. You want to make sure everything lines up and stays tight. Wipe out any squeeze out again. Try not to lick your fingers. Now what we're going to do is we're going to glue the top pieces onto the arms that will make our jaws. You can do this on each of the uprights. If you have any chips or anything in your board, you can see I was checking to make sure. Put those on the outside because what we're going to end up doing is cutting all those off when we go to cut the radiuses. Give it a nice rounded look. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to play with our wiener on camera for a moment. And now we're going to grab the most high-tech piece of equipment we have in the shop, which is a brand new roll of masking tape. The reason we're grabbing that is because we're going to use it to trace out the radiuses for the jaws. And what you're going to do is you're going to lay it on the uprights over the pieces that we glued together and trace out the radius for the top. And then on the bottoms, you notice I grabbed the ruler. You're going to come up 1 inch from the bottom, and then you're going to draw the radius and come down to just inside the upright. You don't want to cut into the upright, and this is going to give us our inner radius. And as you can see, what you'll end up with is a little cathedral effect going on there. And after that, it's time for the bandsaw. Cue the bandsaw. What you got here is my little wen. Great little piece of equipment. The only bad thing about it is the blade sucks. Just take your time, power on through it. Being real careful not to cut into the upright itself. I always end up leaving them a little proud because what comes after this, we're going to hit it with the belt sander. And there you have the jaws. And now we sling dust everywhere. Make sure you get your respirator on, turn your hat backwards because it's cool and we saw it in over the top. Get everything nice and smooth. There's a good chance to blend everything together. If you have a bald spot, now's the time to show it off. And now we go to the router table. What you want to do is you want to round over all the edges on the top. I even do it on the bottom. This is the base plate because your legs go over that. I'm going to give the edges on the outer edges on the arms a nice round over. And now we're going to sand everything smooth. Check everything over. Here's a rough idea of how it's going to look. Now we're going to glue the center block using our built-in glue spreader. We're going to glue that to one of the uprights, clamp it up, using the table to make sure it's all level and stays right. And we're going to wait the recommended 24 hours for the glue to dry, right? No, not even. No, this is where we pretend we know what we're doing and figure out how we're going to drill a hole through both boards without any blowout. And then the aha moment hits me and we just grab a board and we get our drill and our drill bit and we go right on through. I'm not going to tell you what size hole you want, just make sure it matches whatever bolt you get. Here I'm pounding in T-nuts for the knob. I've also got them on the upright. Make sure everything spins together. You'll notice I put the T-nut on the inside of that upright just because it looks better that way. Plus, when you go to tighten that bolt down, you'll want that T-nut to tighten it. Here I'm checking to make sure everything lines up before any final adjustments need to be made. And here we go, we're getting our leather ready to line the inside of the jaws. What I've got is some, it's called pull-up, and we're going to use weldwood contact adhesive. Rubber cement. Goes on nice, sticky, gooey. Make sure you're in a well ventilated area. You spread it on, let it dry. It's like one big gooey booger. And while that's drying, you can go ahead and get a measurement, cut your leather out. Do any touch-ups. You want to make sure you cover the whole surface. Just double checking how much I need there. Neat thing about that pull-up is you can just kind of scribe it. You're going to put the adhesive on the leather as well, press it down, and then trim it up. Neat thing about leather is you can sand it, which will probably be a future video. Teach you how to use tools on leather that probably shouldn't be used on leather. What I'm doing here is getting a rough idea of where the center is. You can be exact, you don't have to be, but this is where the center is going to mount. Double check and make sure I got everything right. Make sure you open the glue before you try and spread it. You don't even have to put glue here. But we're going to set that down and let it dry for just a minute. Make sure it's square. If you're really ambitious, you can make it so that this swivels around. Here I'm leaning it off the edge of the table because I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drill some pilot holes, and I'm going to put 3 screws through the bottom, and this is going to secure that arm in place to the base. So here we are countersinking. You want to make sure you get those nice and in there because that's going to sit level on whatever surface you have, and you don't want the heads of the screws scratching up whatever you set it on. You could also put leather or felt or whatever you want on the underside to help protect that surface as well. Now here what you want to do, you want to push the top of the jaws together, and if you look, there's a gap at the bottom. If you put the hinge in the wrong place at the bottom, the jaws won't close properly. So what we need to do is take 2 pieces of leather, the same leather we used, and put them together at the base. That'll equal the width of the leather that we have on the jaws, so that when we put the hinge in place, it'll allow the jaws to close properly. And go ahead and clamp it up. Now you can go ahead and mark the proper placement of your hinge. And this is where I prefer to use the smaller hinges. They don't hang off the sides of the uprights. They look better. They work just as well. Give it an overall better look. And if you go with a darker stain and you use a brass hinge, it really makes it pop. My high-tech little hammer. Go ahead and punch your holes so the drill bit doesn't wander. It was shortly after arguing with the screwdriver that I realized, hey, I have a cordless drill sitting right next to me. Oh, look at that. My handy dandy little bit holder. All that is a piece of plywood with some EVA foam glued down to it and a whole bunch of holes drilled into it. Holds them nice and secure. It's also got a French cleat on the back, just hangs on the wall. I haven't had a single one fall out. You can put all kinds of them on there. It was at this point also that I decided those stupid little screws that come in the packet really suck. Get you some nice substantial screws, use those. You'll see I started with the bottom of the hinge first and then moved on to the top. Get that all in place, get it all screwed up tight, and it's pretty much done from there. Pull your pieces of leather out, your jaw should close nice and tight. It's that time. Grab your knob, grab your stitching pony, get some gloves on, and let's finish this. I guess this is where you would play cool finishing music or something. Alright, now, my knob. Knob needs some love too. Alright, everybody get ready. Get your jokes ready. It's time to polish your knob. It's definitely not something you go tell your coworkers about. What were you doing last night? Well, I had this nice project and I sat around and I polished my knob. Because they're not going to take it the way you mean it. Which is going to lead to you winding up getting in trouble for sexual harassment or something. And then you're going to come yell at me because I said polish your knob. Alright folks. We're there. Now, this has been a problem I have found initially. When you get it first put together. That's why I don't exactly like tightening that bolt right up. Leave a little bit of room for some adjustment. And then you can tighten it up. Which, lately, and you don't have to do this every time. It will, once you get it situated, just like the other one. It took it just a little bit, and then everything worked fine on it. Ta-da! See? Just had to get it lined up the first time, and there we have it. And any adjustment you need, you can do down here on the hinges. But that's it. One leather stitching pony. Which looks like I just need to give this a little twist. And there we go. That easy. Everything lines up. It's pretty. Smells good. I don't know about taste. I'm not going to lick that because, yeah. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll wait for the neighbor to drive by. If you did like it, so make sure you click the little thumbs up down there, subscribe, comment. Check out the Idle Hands Workshop on the web, idlehandsworkshop.info. Follow us on Twitter. We have a Facebook page. Other things coming up. There's shirts and everything you can buy. Sorry Boomer couldn't be here. He got tired and cold and went inside. Like I said, nobody likes a cold wiener. So check back next time, give you an option. Either the next video will be about 3D printed planes, or, one moment, how to make your own passive speaker out of wood. Basically, all you do, you drop your cell phone in the hole and it directs the sound and makes it louder. And we all know that most cell phone speakers are crap. This actually works and makes it louder. It's an improvement over a lot of other designs I've found, because most of the designs use angles. Sound doesn't like angles, it likes smooth surfaces, and this one is all nice and curved. So, it's this or 3D printed hand planes. Something I just discovered the other night and I would love to try out. I've got 3D printers. If you have a preference, leave a comment below and we'll go from there. Hope to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Peace.